Hello everyone, welcome to Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Sheung Baloye. The stories of defection looks like the trend in the political scene in Nigeria as we see people moving from the PDP to the APC. So are people moving from the APC to the PDP? Today, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar announced his defection to the APC. This is the second time the former Vice President will be leaving the party. He says himself and his supporters have been forced out of the PDP, and after consultations, he has decided to move on. Well, away from that, some lawmakers from Nasarawa State moved from the APC to the PDP in the House of Representatives. At the Senate, Senator Bukola Saraki and 10 others wrote to the leadership of the Senate on their interest to move to the APC. That letter has not been read, and the controversy on the court injunction lingers. But well, let's move away from those stories to the main issue of the day. The clamor for a national conference has been on for several years. Interesting part is when President Jonathan announced on the 1st of October 2013 that he has set up an advisory committee. Some reactions, especially from the opposition party APC, which followed, were that the intentions were diversionary. The committee started its work and submitted its report to the president in December of 2013, and now a modality has been announced for the national conference. Several questions have also risen on the subject, some of which include the issues to be discussed and representation at the conference. Tonight I have joining me in the studio to discuss this issue the president of the Igbo Socio-political group, Aka-Ikenga, Barrister Goddy Nwazuruike. Thank you for joining us, Barrister Goddy Nwazuruike. And also the president of Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, Mr. Yerima Shettima. Thank you for joining us in Politics Today. And Mr. Yinka, Odumakin, the spokesperson of Afenifere, Yoruba Socio-political group in Nigeria. Thank you for joining me on the program. Don't forget that you can be a part of the discussion by dropping your comment and your view. Send them to our email. It is politicstoday@channelstv.com, or go on Twitter and follow me and let me know what you feel about these issues. My handle is @Sheung. Well, let's get down to the issue. But before we start to discuss this issue, there's this report that I would like you to see. And when we come back, we'll discuss in depth, as we like to break it down on the program so you can get a sense of what this issue, the national conference, is all about. When we come back, we'll discuss more.
We have wasted too much time.
On October 7th, 2013, President Goodluck Jonathan inaugurated a 13-member presidential advisory committee to come out with a framework for a national dialogue.
A president willing to accede to the yearnings of majority of Nigerians.
The committee held several meetings across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country.
The true representatives of ethnic nationalities are allowed to express the feelings and concerns of their people.
The outcome of the committee's work is a platform for Nigerians to promote the ideals of nationhood through dialogue. The platform will be known as a national conference.
The national conference shall tentatively last for 3 months and shall discuss any subject matter whatsoever except the indivisibility and indissolubility of Nigeria as a nation. This is to say that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable.
The delegates for the conference were drawn from several groups. They include elder statesmen, retired military and security personnel, traditional rulers, retired civil servants, labor representatives, the private sector, national youth organizations, women groups, political parties, religious leaders, civil society organizations, Nigerians in diaspora, people living with disabilities, professional bodies, the media, ethnic nationality groups, national academies, the judiciary, former political office holders, representatives from federal and state governments. A chairman will be appointed alongside a deputy chair and a secretary. Interest groups have a deadline of February 20 to submit the list of their delegates. However, how will the federal government manage the conference with a few months to the general elections?
We are also deeply encouraged by the calls by Nigerians from all walks of life for us to proceed with the report of the committee with utmost urgency, so that the nation can be through with the dialogue well ahead of the approaching political season.
The formal inauguration of the conference will take place after the delegates list is concluded. Well, that's it. The idea of a national conference is something most Nigerians have been looking for, have been waiting for. The yearnings, expectations, hopes of Nigerians about this is the fact that we need to sit down and talk as a nation. 100 years ago, the southern and the northern protectorates were amalgamated under Lord Lugard. Well, in 1960, Nigeria got independence. But since then, there has been issues of what exactly do we stand for as a people? Do we really believe in the ethnic and the cultural diversities of this country? A lot of people believe that the diversity of this country is our major strength. Have we been really capitalizing on this particular strength? Well, these are some of the issues that a lot of Nigerians believe that should come up at the national conference. When President Jonathan actually inaugurated that committee on the 17th of October 2013. Well, let me take you through some of the journey of that national conference. From the 1st of October 2013, when President Jonathan actually announced that he has set up an advisory committee. Well, on the 1st of October 2013, that was when President Jonathan announced that he has set up an advisory committee. On the 7th of October 2013, President Jonathan inaugurated that committee. Is a 13-man advisory committee led by Senator Femi Okunromu, and that happened in Abuja. The committee was given a 7 terms of reference, which the thrust was to advise the government on the framework of a national dialogue by consulting widely with Nigerians. Well, the Okunromu committee was also asked to submit its report within 6 weeks. Well, thereafter, consultations were made by the committee, and it was held in 13 major cities across the country, 2 in each geopolitical zones, including the FCT Abuja. Again, the advisory committee interacted with governors and traditional rulers of the 12 states visited, as well as with the Honorable Minister of the FCT. Well, this is just to make sure that there is an all-inclusive talks and consultations. Again, on the 12th of December 2013, the committee submitted its report to President Jonathan in Abuja. A lot of controversy actually came up afterward. One of it was the fact that there was a minority report which was not allowed, where the presidency actually came out to say no, there wasn't anything like a minority report. There was also a reaction about an abridged version of the report, which the president also debunked. Well, this time around, the committee, after it submitted its report, we understand that 6,650 Nigerians participated in the interactive sessions across the country. 421 presentations were made in all of these consultations. 607 memoranda received at the interactive sessions, while 57 memoranda were received online and 47 by direct submission to the secretariat. Well, the big one was perhaps this was a move by President Jonathan to silence critics, those who feel that that particular intention to have Nigeria talk is diversionary. He actually came out, and on the 30th of January, the federal government released the modalities for national conference, and it appears the government is very serious about this deal. Well, how serious the government is about this particular issue are some of the things we're going to be discussing. And let me start with Mr. Yinka Odumakin. We've heard your group come out to say, Afenifere has come out to support. In fact, we understand that your group actually consulted with the president, and some of those things that you discussed was the modality. In fact, you belong to a group that is clamoring for a sort of a dress rehearsal for the national conference. But based on the advisory committee report and the modalities released by the SGF, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, what are your views?
Well, I think the modalities released by the federal government is a big improvement on the initial recommendations of the panel, of the Presidential Advisory Committee. Because I say that with all sense of responsibility that the initial recommendations of the panel, if the conference had been held along those lines, it would have been lost. And that's why I think various groups came out to reject their recommendations from across the country, from Afenifere, Niger Delta Conference, the leaders of thought, and so many other groups